2. All right. Hey, everybody. This is Jeff Londres, co-founder of Stikkum. And I've had the privilege to have with us today Enrique Braunschweiger, who's the president of First West Financial. I think we wanted to have this type of communication and just knowledge sharing between each other as we talk all the time, but really more the broker community, because there's so many, it's growing, it's really going so fast, but so is the complexity in the marketplace itself. I admire Enrique because he's built a business, been around for multiple years, big swings of ups and downs in the industry, right? Growing and expanding your shop as it is, new building he has that he's moving into and stuff like that. And I think there's a lot of nuggets of great insights and information that if we can tap some of the leaders of this industry and we take the abundance mentality that it is a we. And it is a we. It's not a me, it's a we. If we can better each other, help each other out, the whole industry collectively and individually is going to grow. So Absolutely. that's our premise today. And I'm privileged to have with me Enrique just to kind of pick the brain of the master here. Maybe Enrique, I'd like you to just tell just a couple sentences about your organization.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where you're sitting and everything else first, and then we'll get to some good
absolutely
insight.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank you for having me. I'm a big fan of your company. I mean, I make no bones about it. I talk to people about your company all the time. I have a pretty keen eye. You know, this is my 18th year as a broker, and I have a keen eye to see when I see organizations or groups that are serving the mortgage loan officer, whether it's independent or the industry as a whole. And when they do a good job and they're focused, I tend to be big fans of companies like that. You know, and there's a few out there, and yours is one of them. And of course, I am a customer. I love what you guys have done for me. There is no secret. I always say that you have saved me thousands, tens of thousands of dollars. And a week doesn't go by that I don't tap into a resource that you give us that actually puts money in my pocket. And it's phenomenal. I am actually in Southern California. I'm in the area of the Palm Springs area. I'm actually located in Palm Desert. We have a branch up in Northern California. We have a phenomenal guy up there, Daniel Sosa, who is the leader of that group there. But we are independent brokers. We love working with buyers. We had a really great run on the refinances. We're still doing a lot of those, but you know, as we're going to talk about here in the next few minutes, the road is going to get very narrow here for the next few months, right? We're sitting here at the middle of November of 2021. The road is going to get narrow. For those who have been around for a while, we already know what's going to happen. We have a pretty good picture of it. And I think Stikkum is going to be a phenomenal partner for what is to come, especially over the next 7 to 12 months. So
fantastic.
With that, you know, we love working with buyers. We love working with refis, and you know, we have a phenomenal database of clients, and it's probably the most precious, most important, valuable thing of our company. Other than our employees, it is our past clients. So we love that.
Yep. And I think you're hitting on it right on the head, Enrique. I think you guys there from a broker community there are in a unique position. The value you have there is truly your advisory support, your intelligence, your experience, your breadth of solutions to truly fit the right solution for somebody as opposed to just pulling something off the shelf, right? That being said, there's so many things in a business that you have to do every day. So many things that you're running after every day, and it's very easy to lose sight of some of the fundamentals that have kept you alive for 18 years, and that where you can see in your expansion 18 plus more years, who knows when, coming up into the future. So let's talk a little bit about those. And you actually mentioned it right there. One of the ones is like, let's talk more, say, what you mentioned there is like, what does it mean? What does it mean? And how are you working in regards to building continuous business? You work so hard to acquire a single customer, right? And what I admire about you is you have not just a customer transaction, you've been so successful about developing customer relationships, all right? And that's why I was like, you know, Enrique is a great person to share, because that's one of the foundations of his house, what you explained to me a couple of times before, is that customer relationship, ongoing, continuous engagement and involvement. So let's talk about this. And I got some questions that have kind of been fed over to me from some other colleagues of yours. I said, Jeff, ask Enrique this. You know, in general for your business, you know, what is customer retention? What's the value, quite frankly, to any mortgage broker's business?
Absolutely.
Small, new, or old, right? And then, quite frankly, hey, I'm getting a bunch of leads. Why should I care, Enrique?
Yeah, you should definitely care. So I was at a convention recently in Las Vegas, the AIM convention. I was talking to a guy and he said to me, he goes, "Oh man, I wish our business was more like the insurance business that gives you residual, you know?" And my first reaction was like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." And then I realized, wait a minute, my business has residual income, and it doesn't have a $100 or a $200 residual income. It's thousands of dollars if you know to value your customers. You know, I'm going to tell you, about 35% of my transactions this year are either from a past customer or a customer that I've helped in the past that is referring business to me. 35%. Wow. It doesn't get any more residual than that, right? And the truth is that if you have a solid plan to work with your database, you're going to do really, really, really well. Customer retention is very important. If you're out there getting Zillow leads and buying leads from LendingTree and doing all those things, that's fine. But those are expensive and hard to get, and it costs a lot of money to convert those leads. You got to talk to a lot of people. You got to kiss a lot of frogs to get one. But if you have a customer that you already took care of and you maintain a solid relationship and you get alerted when this customer is starting to look somewhere else, there is no question about it. That is going to be a less expensive customer to reacquire, and it's going to be a more solid sale, right? This morning, we are closing on a transaction from a lady who is a school teacher who purchased a home 3 years ago, refinanced with us, and then now is purchasing her second home, her vacation home. And she comes to us, but I get alerted. She starts getting some activity. Sometimes people get restless. Maybe they get offers in the mail, whatever.
Sure.
Yeah. We reach out. We're very proactive. So anybody that does not have a customer retention plan is missing the boat big time. Is missing thousands of dollars. And we'll get into the details of it, because I hear people all the time says, well, if they go somewhere else, you didn't do a good job at communicating. I don't believe in that. And I'll tell you more about it shortly, but you got to have some kind of a retention alert system. Of course, we love Stikkum, but I always tell people, if it's not Stikkum, get something.
Gotta be something.
Get something. So when a customer gets something in the mail and decides to make a phone call and forgets about you for 5 minutes, you get alerted and then you get an opportunity. So we hope it's Stikkum, but if it isn't, get some kind of a plan, right?
I think what I'm hearing here, first of all, when you're a business owner, you're always watching top line, but you have to be watching bottom line. And if you're going to spend your time and energy, and quite frankly, money as well, to growing your business, people are missing out on probably the one most profitable, most fruitful entities in their entire sales and marketing environment. It's going to be their past customers. You don't realize that, right? And they have testimonials, their own deal they've done. They've got a relationship and credibility already built, as you mentioned there. And I was at a conference just recently as well too, and the person that had a statistic that was kind of eye-opening that they actually ran was that they found that, like, in their studies and surveys of customers there, that maybe went to somebody else, but they found that 92% of the people, and these are the borrowers that responded to this, says, "Wow, I would have absolutely have loved to work with my original loan officer if I just remembered who that was."
Right.
92%. Yeah. 92%. So talk about close ratio. Talk about the it's still a work to do, right? But talk about, for your efforts, what is really fruitfully waiting for you, right, in that customer base, right?
Well, and here's what we have to remember. This is, I think it's naive to think that just because you have a solid relationship with your clients and you communicate with them well, that you're immune to competition that is going to target them. Let me share something with you. Yeah, I touch my customer database approximately 37 times a year. I'm going to say that again, 37 times a year. If you've done a mortgage with me, 37 times a year, you are going to get a communication from me, whether it's by phone, by text, by video, or by email. And guess what? Yeah. Wow. And guess what? Every day I wake up to a Stikkum alert. Every day, right? So that means to tell you. Yeah. So it doesn't get any more solid. We talk to our customers. We're in front of them. It would be naive for me to think that just because I'm talking to them 37 times, that they're not going to go somewhere else. And I tell you why, because the psychology of people is like, oh yeah, I know Jeff, and I love Jeff and Enrique, or I love Enrique, he's great. And then they get this 2.3% paper, and it's like, let me call this guy, right? and they're gone. And that 37 times, now sometimes they talk to that person and then they call you, and that's fine. But I tell you what we do is we reach out to them and say, hey, listen, just checking in with you. And then they go, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you called me because I was just talking to this other person. And I'm sitting there thinking, of course you were talking to another person because I just got alerted that you were talking to another person. And who knows if they were going to, and then of course they go, but I would way rather do business with you. And I go, well, why didn't you call me first? Well, because the opportunity came in a mailer or in a phone call, in a telemarketer or a commercial from Quicken Loans or whatever it is. And they get gone, right? They just, that's basically how it happens. About 3 weeks ago, I tested something. I filled in the information for a Costco mortgage, right?
Oh, okay.
And I wanted to test it. So I put my phone number and my email, and I counted 34 phone calls came in, 34 phone calls, about, I want to say about 24 emails and about 6 to 10 text messages. And today, it's about 2.5, 3 weeks later, I'm still getting calls and alerts.
Wow.
And it's just an innocent form that I just filled out, right? Just my name, my phone number, I'm interested in a mortgage. I wanted to test it and I wanted to share that with you because if you're sitting there thinking, oh no, I'm solid, my people love me, you are naive and you are way off. You know,
Wow.
You got to get some kind of a last barrier that is going to alert you when a customer is going somewhere else.
That's pretty striking. Pretty striking. That's what everybody's up against, right?
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned a couple of things here too. As the processes you go through when you get an alert or you're approaching this particular customer base and audience, right? It's a customer versus a new prospect, right? This poses an interesting thing. We've had our customers like, hey, Jeff, give me some thoughts on how does it, I'm used to going after prospects. How should I approach a customer differently? Or is there a difference, right? What is my process? Is it different? Is there advantages to it? How is it for you, Enrique? How do you approach like this instance that I know I have an approach now to a customer versus a blind lead or whatever, right, a new prospect and stuff like that? What's your thoughts? What can you tell folks about that?
Yeah, so I think I get your question. So my approach is always education. Okay, here's the reality of it: is that what we do, even though it's easy for us to understand the concepts, the ideas, for people it's complicated, right? I talked to a lady yesterday. Says, explain to me what's a refi. It's like this is a 45-year-old person, right, who's owned 2 houses. It's like, what's a refi? And it made me realize this person doesn't know what's a refi, right? Every single day I talk to someone who says, well, I'm going to apply as soon as I pay off all my collections. Like, don't do that. So what we decided to do about 3 years ago is we decided to create a system where we communicate with our buyers. We stay connected to our past clients with an education purpose. I used to be coached by Carl White. And Carl White Group, I had a coach there, Irene, and they used to tell us, look, you never want to call to sell them a mortgage. You want to give them advice. You want to give them education. You want to share with them the things that are important to them. Yep. So I would say that 95% of my communication is educating our past clients onto something, with, of course, the caveat at the end to say, hey, look, if you're interested in the mortgage. So the connection that we have is about us helping them, educating them, protecting them, communicating with them about what's new. And then about 5-10% of it is alerts, right? Hey, rates are down, or hey, if you're interested in maybe taking some equity out of your home, this is a great time to do that. Or hey, have great credit card balances, right? But our approach is always about educating people and about giving. And we find that type of connection is what works the best. You create a relationship where people trust you and like you. And then when the opportunity comes to that they want to do a mortgage, they're going to reach out to you because they know that, hey, they can count on you.
It sounds like what I'm hearing is, you're taking on now a new role. It's an opportunity to take a new role with these people, right?
Right.
I'm hearing a lot of advisory type of opportunities. These are homeowners, and call them home financiers now. Right. And then your advisor is trying to help them be the better and more educated homeowner, regardless of what it pertains to a transaction today or not, right? Help them understand what they have. And many times is, quite frankly, probably their largest net asset in their net worth, and
that's correct,
largest responsibility from a debt perspective for most people, in their book right there. And quite frankly, it's fueling quite a lot of people's retirement even. So it needs a lot of care, and they're not experts in the field. What I'm hearing is you're there positioning yourself from customers to the opportunity to be that advisor, right?
That's
That
right.
advisor.
That's what we do, is just educate people. You got to give people something. Customer is very savvy right now, and the customer is getting bombarded from every angle, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to talk about some of these companies. Like, say, for example, Rocket Mortgage. Rocket Mortgage is always reaching out to people through television, but they don't educate. They're advertising, say, hey, this is what we got, this is what we got, this is what we got. And that works to a certain extent. We're never going to be able to compete with that. Our budget is what, $2,000 versus $1 billion with a B, right?
Yeah.
So you can't go against them with the same weapon. You have to go with a different angle. And our angle is, hey, we're local. We are a family-owned business, and we're here to educate you and support you and encourage you. That's really the angle that
I see it. I see what you're saying. You look at those entities like a Rocket, and guess what they're playing? They're playing the transaction.
It's a transaction.
We are a transaction.
Relational.
We're going to make it easy. You push the app, and what you're telling the folks here is like, this is an opportunity. Let them be that world right there, because it's not sustainable. Be the advisor. Be the strategic advisor, ongoing for life. For them to help.
Not transactional, but relational. Right.
Relational. Gotcha. Hey, another question. This will actually parlay quite a bit on that. And it's about long-term relationships, because there's a lot of, especially young brokers out there saying, I'm hunting after the transactions, but what do you do maybe specifically from the onset of a relationship with Jeff, new person, but to really sustain the relationship going forward? You mentioned a little bit about the many communications and stuff. How do you build the long-term relationships? What are the best practices? And maybe even if you can share some processes that you do to help them.
Yeah. So I already mentioned about my desire to educate and encourage people, right? One of the things that I think baffles me the most, especially with younger people or people who've only been in the business a year or two or three, I talk to them all the time. And one of the first questions that I always ask when they said, hey, I'm trying to get more business. So they'll call me and say, hey, I noticed that you're using this lead company, or using lead pops, or you're using this company or that company. And I said, can you tell me about it? I said, hey, do you mind if I ask you a question? Because how many loans have you sold since you started? And the first answer is usually, well, I don't know. So, well, tell me, count them. I'll wait. And they said, now, you have a CRM? And they stop, right? And okay, do you reach out to those people? So what I encourage people is to focus first on what we call the low-hanging fruit, right? People who already know you, like you, and trust you. And yet, what we do is we go get the proverbial ladder, we put it up against the tree, and we go all the way up to the top of the tree to get that apple that's on Zillow Leads or Lending Tree.
Yes.
In reality, what we need to do is connect with our customers. So one of the first things that I would encourage people to do, or the people encourage people, is what are you doing with your database, right? Get your database somewhere, put it somewhere. A great place to put it is Stikkum, because Stikkum is going to give me, included in the price, the opportunity to communicate with people, automated communication. Now, I do that. You and I set it up just a few days ago, but I also put it into a CRM, and I'm constantly communicating through video and different sources. Last week, we had Veterans Day, right? And this is the first time that Stikkum actually sent out an email on Veterans Day to everyone. And it was a really thoughtful email. It's just, hey, we're taking a pause to celebrate, our veterans. So something that's never happened to me before is that 4 veterans actually reply back to thank me for acknowledging them. That's never happened, because guess what? I'm not selling them anything. I didn't go, hey, happy Veterans Day, by the way. Would you like to buy a mattress, right? Like a mattress sale on Veterans Day. That's cheesy. It was just a thank you. And 4 of them reached out to me.
All right.
To thank me for acknowledging them and for the service to the veterans that we provide, because they all got VA loans. That's what's about. And I get frustrated because we're trying to invent the wheel that's already invented. Take care of your customers, put the database somewhere. I have my database in 3 different places. I have it in the CRM, I have it at BombBomb, and I have it at Stikkum. And we do a strategy where we're touching them from every angle.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So what I'm hearing is no matter how tenured you are how tenured you are in your career as a mortgage broker, it's day one you should start. Organize.
Absolutely. I mean, if you have
Organize.
I mean, most people did at least 60, 70 loans the last year, right? And maybe someone who's been around 2, 3 years, so let's say they have 200 customers, right? Or 150 customers. Well, those 150 can turn into 500 if you take that each one of them knows 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people that they can talk to. But you got to stay in front of them. You know, you got to stay connected.
And the second thing I heard also, Enrique, which is really insightful, is that you're you know, talking about the Veterans Day communication there, is like you're dealing with people.
Right.
People want to connect as people, not just as mortgage salesperson or application filler outer. Right?
Exactly.
It's people. It's people. And sometimes what's interesting is what I pulled there is these are the small but also often forgotten about little touches. So far and away from mortgage, but it's saying that Enrique is a friend of yours, and Enrique is here to just touch your heart here on this particular day, and then all of a sudden that's truly the glue that holds a relationship.
That's correct. That's correct.
That's fantastic. And that's anybody can do that. Anybody can do that, right?
Yeah.
You touched on it just now. It's hard. What tools and technology now? It's one thing to get organized, but what I like about you, Enrique, is you're constantly looking out for best of breed, different technologies, different tools to allow you to get better, faster, grow more efficiently, but also effectively with the relationships. You know, how do you use technology today? There's separate systems, but then you're combining them together, you know, to support your business, but also to stay in front of customers.
Yeah. So one of the beauties of living in today is that we now have the ability to acquire technology very inexpensively, right? So you have to remember, you're competing with the Quickens and the Betters and the Wells Fargos, and they have billions with a B in technology, right? Like they have this phenomenal funnels. Well, I have technology where for $150 a month, a company called LeadPops provides me with professional funnels that look just like theirs, right?
Yeah.
They have this complex application systems. Well, for $70 a month, I got Arrive, who is this all-in-one platform that serves the broker, right? CRMs, you know, with your company, I don't have to pay a monthly fee to be a member of your company, and yet you provide me with automated emails that go out to the database for different occasions, right? Text messages and so on. So the technology is out there. It's never been a better time to be an independent guy, a small guy, because I would say when I add up all the technology, I probably spend about, I don't know, maybe about $600-700 a month in technology subscriptions. But man, I look like the real deal, right? It's all professional. It's all done. I think the challenge is that we spend a lot of time doing the research on the technology, and then we don't implement nothing. Yeah. I am quick to implement. You know, if I put something to work, if it doesn't work, I yank it, I'll cancel it, but I'll try it, I'll implement it. I talked to someone the other day who was, you know, I look at this one and look at that one and think about this, and I don't know, and what do you think? Just grab one, buy the subscription, try it for 60 days, and if it doesn't work, cancel it. Implement. The one that implements the fastest gets to the finish line the fastest. It's
time to market. Absolutely. And I think, you know, one of those things, you know, we want to hit on something as well, too, from a service perspective. And this is kind of hate to ever see this happen to anybody. Some of your staff and resources couldn't be in the office for a period of time that was supposed to help out there. And even us, we recognize the fact that, you know, good mortgage brokers need to be in front of their clients and customers. They're not necessarily tech developers or anything of that nature. It's not second nature to be here, it's to be there. And what we've done, and I think you've experienced this just recently, is that you came up, hey, Jeff, you know, my gal is not here. She's my go-to person, and she's not just out here, but I want to get this going. Can you help me out here? And remember, it's like, Enrique, that's our model. That's our turnkey, even touch opportunity, so that we can keep our customers, not just supporting them with tools, but then keeping you strategic so that, you know what, Enrique, our team is being pushed to the forefront now that they are your team. What can we do for you? Maybe explain how we work together on that our team. So part of the challenge of being a mortgage broker as well, or even a mortgage lender that works independently or as part of a team, is that when we start, you know, we got to be everything. We got to, you know, I remember when I started, this was the company phone number, right? Yeah. I had one office, one person, me and my wife. You know, we took care of everything. So I was the accountant, my wife was the marketing person, right? As we progress and as we grow,
sometimes we don't have the ability to go hire the people to do that. But companies like yours that offer us the ability to be able to say, hey, let me walk you through the process. Like, I don't know how to upload an XML thing to, hey, just email it to me. I'll take care of it for you. Or I don't know how to set this up. We align ourselves with companies that have that ability to do that for us, right? Some of the companies I mentioned have phenomenal customer service. I don't like doing business with companies that require that I fill out a ticket. I like to pick up the phone and call someone when I need to, right? And I think that that's one of the advantages, is that you have a system that can be complex because it does a lot of different things. And we as loan officers, sometimes we're so overwhelmed and busy with applications, with taking care of customers, closing deals, that we don't have time for the tech. So we want to be able to, connect with people that can help us do that. Great if you have the budget to have a tech person, but if you don't, you need to have companies like Stikkum that can do the work for you and walk you through the process, say, hey, look, we got you. And that's what you guys do.
I appreciate it. That's validating, because we were listening to our customers, and we want to provide the same level of services that you guys provide your customers, that you guys are available 7 days a week. Customer needs a help, has a question, you answer it as a person to a person, as opposed to a chat bot. Fill out a form and get a ticket, hopefully get an email. There's a wizard behind the curtain, because all you are is just a technology. So that's why we've done, and thank you for the validation that it's really what the market and the brokers need is, hey, Jeff, we want this level of support. We would have staffed 5 or 6 IT folks just to tinker around with your technology. Thank you for bringing it to me, because I can just say, if I wanted to, I would like this, this, and this, and you will do it for me. What do I get to do? Go be in front of my customers. I love it. What I get to do now, I can accelerate my implementation, because I don't have to do it necessarily. I just have to direct and dream about it, and then Stikkum will actually implement it for me.
Exactly. Absolutely.
That's great.
Absolutely.
So, hey, one more question. Okay. So one more question for you. That's it. And then I'll let you go here, but you've been around for 18 years. There's no doubt you're around for 18, 19, 20 years if you're not already thinking about what's coming up in 1, 3, 5 years. Being fourth quarter right now, right? We're October, November of this.
Absolutely.
So if you could tell in your crystal ball, what do you think the outlook is going to happen over the 1, 3 post-COVID kind of, and how do you feel about the customer retention world in alignment to that over the next 1 to 3 years?
Absolutely. So the reality is that the mortgage business is really attached to the rates. We live and die by the rates in many cases, not always, right? And we're talking about large volumes. So one of the fears that I have is for a lot of the people that got into the business and a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, where you could actually go outside and stick your hand out and a refi would land, right? And then that's if it didn't hit you another one in the head. You go to the gas station, and if you happen to have a T-shirt that says mortgages, people go, hey, I want to ask you a question. So that's going to be gone like already, right? That first of all, a lot of the people already refinanced, and the ones that haven't. So we have to move into another area. Debt consolidation, lowering the term of mortgages from 30s to 15. We have to educate people about those 2 items. But what's going to happen is you're going to have a lot less customers that you're competing with. So your database becomes even more valuable, right? Because if you were getting 40, 50 refis from outside, and you were getting 30 or 40 from your customers, and then out of the blue rates go up, and you're not going to get a lot from the outside, your customer base becomes more valuable. You have to treat it like your most precious commodity. Every single one of your customers that you have that is going to do a purchase or a refinance should go to you. You should not be playing percentages. It should be 100% of the time. And the reason why it should be 100% of the time is because you should be connected with them. Not one can get away from you, because you don't have the volume that you had in previous years.
So what you're saying, so reflecting back on your own business, what you said before, that today 35+% of your business is coming out of your base. What you're saying is, for you even, that percentage very well could be increasing.
It could be increasing because I'm going to pay even more further attention to it. But the second scenario is that you're going to feel a pinch, but guess what? So did Rocket. So does Lending Tree. So does the guy, so does Wells Fargo. So they're going to redouble the efforts. They're going to triple the efforts to get in front of the customers before you do. I had someone tell me the other day, they said, oh, I never lose any customers to them. And I said, you don't even know you're losing customers to them because you're losing customers you didn't even know you had a shot at, right?
Yeah,
like they're calling them before they even know you existed. What do you think? They're going to go to Google to look you up? No, they don't have to do that because they're on TV every 2 minutes.
Yes.
So we are going to have to get really, really good at creating a local presence, a local activity, making sure you have good reviews. So you rank high on local Google, make sure you're stay in touch with your database. What's coming is abundance, but it's going to be harder to get. You're going to have to work harder to acquire the customers. And finally, you're going to have to establish some solid relationships with real estate agents. I know loan officers who stopped talking to real estate agents for a year and a half because they didn't have to. And they woke up 3 days ago when the rates went over 3% and like, I need to get a hold of. So now they're calling, inviting people to lunch. And it's like, maybe you're a little too late. Maybe you're not. You need to create solid relationship with real estate agents. Business is going to be good, but it's just going to be a little tougher to get. That's all. You're going to have to get good at it.
Evolving.
Yeah.
Always evolving, right?
Absolutely.
And so how versatile can you be in this particular ever-changing
Absolutely
marketplace, right? I think what I've heard though is that the long-standing common denominator as the marketplace changes, competition changes, what you always can count on the fact is you have a customer that you've succeeded with. That will always be there if you actually take the opportunity to recognize it and embrace it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you think about some of these companies who have a huge budget. Do you think they're going to cut down because the rates went up a little bit? No, they're going to double up. They're going to triple up. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to triple up on your local presence, reaching out to your past clients, asking for referrals, letting them know that, hey, you're here to help them, right? You're here to help their families. So that's the reality is we're just going to have to get better. That's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, hey, my friend, this has been like gold. And I can't wait to share this with the other colleagues in the industry of yours.
Absolutely, man. I'm always available. If anybody wants to chat or drop me a line and, pick my brain about what I'm doing. And we consider ourselves blessed because we've had help from so many other people that we're always willing to share, especially with the newer folks. So just go on Facebook.
I think you've got wonderful strategies. I think that you learn lessons by visually seeing where you're at on Facebook and the knowledge you share, the initiatives with the first responders that you have there.
That's our Shining Star Hero program, something we're very, very proud of. Absolutely.
I think it separates you as truly a person of the community, and it's really made you what you've been and going to take you forward there, Enrique.
I appreciate that.
Thank you so much, my friend. This has been fantastic. I know a ton of people are going to get a lot of value out of this and grow their business because of it.
I'm super excited.